What's the most you've ever lost in 20 seconds? Have you ever had something you love or value highly stolen from you? It leaves that sudden emptiness in your chest, like your heart fell into your stomach. I want to tell you the story of William from Sweden, the biggest name in MTG that you've never even heard of. What happened after the day two masked intruders stole $30,000 worth of product from his store?
It switched something, in my body, and I just went completely like I didn't feel nothing really. It's kind of a weird feeling to describe, and I just thought that I'm never gonna see those again. So my name is William. I run a Magic store in Sweden, in the city called Gothenburg. So we run a tournament every day basically. So we have Modern, Legacy, Commander, Draft, Pioneer, and then on weekends we also run tournaments. So we have a full schedule. Like, the store is very niched towards Magic the Gathering. We also have a couple of computers that we rent out by the hour, but that's more like a fun thing we do on the side rather than our main business, I would say.
The robbery is one thing, but William is quite a notable person in the global Magic the Gathering community, and you've probably never even heard his name. Most recently, he had a response to the Magic 30th anniversary controversy that received quite a lot of internet buzz.
I was on the same side, same page as everybody else, that it sounded a bit crazy with the price point being what it was. And I said to myself, for that kind of money, you can basically make the real deal. And, I was talking about it for a while, and then yeah, it, let's do it. It sounds like it would be a fun thing to do, because you can do it, so why not do it? So we created 40 booster packs. We put in one of each dual land. We put in Time Walk from Unlimited, and we sold those for the same price that Wizards of the Coast sold these proxy boosters, right? Yeah, I just put it up on my page. I didn't think it was going to be like a big thing or anything, but then a Swedish guy just posted it on Reddit, and it just went viral, and yeah, so that's kind of funny.
That's not the only time he has sent ripples outward through the MTG community. Back in 2013, he actually invented the modern deck Bogles, piloting it to third place at PTQ Dragon's Maze in Oslo, Norway in January of that year. In August of that same year, Reed Duke would take Bogles and take second place with it at Worlds 2013, solidifying that deck in MTG history forever. Reed gets all the credit for modern Bogles, but it was actually William who invented it.
We always joke about that in the store. Like, people who know me and know that I sort of created the deck, they say oh, is that the Bogle deck that Reed Duke created, right? And so that's a funny thing that people, taunt me with or whatever, but I don't mind. I don't care that much. It was a fun thing.
I had to ask William if he had ever met Reed Duke. How did it go? Was there a grudge? Can we set up a MTG boxing match?
No, I thought about it. I think I saw him at a GP once. But I mean, what am I going to say? He doesn't know who I am, and it would probably just be awkward. But, when he was in Worlds, I was rooting for him. It was pretty cool to see something that you built being in the finals of Worlds, right? That's crazy.
2 times that William's decisions have had an effect on the game on a global scale. But how did his game store get robbed?
I was working a night shift at my store. We also have these computers right in the back where people can play computer games. And one of our customers, he was acting a little bit weird that night, but I didn't pay attention to it. He asked for help a couple of times with mouse sensitivity, and he sat right in the back of the store, and I was the only one working. So he would come out a couple of times to grab a soda and to ask if he could charge his phone. And then, when we actually had a Flesh and Blood tournament running that night, and when the tournament was over, he suddenly needed help with his mouse sensitivity. And after I helped him out, he just left immediately. And I asked him why, you can stay for a while long, and we're not closing for another half an hour, and you just fixed your mouse setting right. So but he said nah, it's okay. And then he paid with cash and left. At first I didn't even notice that something was missing, that the foil collection was actually gone. It was actually 2 days later that a customer was asking one of my employees for the foils, and my employees thought that I brought the foils home with me, because why weren't they there, right? Like, they didn't think it was stolen. And then they wrote in our employee group asking for the foils, and I was like, are they not there? That doesn't sound very good. So I would go into the security camera that we have, and I rewinded, and I saw that, like, on this Sunday, that okay, so the foils are still here this Sunday. So I fast forward a little bit, and then I saw, these two guys in masks go down into the store and pick them up and just leave. It was really devastating to see. My heart just like sunk, and I'm like, oh no, that's horrible. So in the store we had 4 foil binders. They were like filled with foils, so it was 4 binders with maybe 1,000 cards in each binder, with our most exclusive foils. So it was not like any foils, it was the best foils. We put them there so people could look at the cards, and it was basically everything playable and everything expensive. When I lost the cards, I actually didn't go out with the amount of the value, because I didn't want the thieves to know exactly how much they had. But it was around maybe $30,000 in Swedish, in US dollars, and in Swedish it would be like 300,000 crowns. We actually just said that it's more than 100k in Swedish crowns, and we said that we gave a bounty to anybody who could bring them in, and I was hoping that these guys would actually come and sell the cards back to me, because we said that if you come in with the collection as it is, we'll give you 50,000 Swedish crowns, and we won't ask any questions.
A robbery this size wasn't going to stay a secret. If we know one thing about the MTG community, it's that information travels like wildfire. It did before the internet, and it definitely does now.
The community is so tightly knitted, and this is something that would just spread across the community. And actually, it spread way more than that. It was even people who didn't know what Magic was knew it, because it was in the newspapers. It was on TV, national television. So I wrote on our Facebook and things like that what had happened, and it just spread from there. And then we have actually a Hall of Famer who's a customer. He's Ole Rade, I guess you would say, or something like that, but he's Ole Rode, really. And he's actually working on one of these newspapers called the Göteborgs-Posten, which is a local paper here in Gothenburg. And he actually wrote this first article about it, and that was sort of how the rest of the Sweden was. I didn't think that people not playing Magic would be interested in hearing this, but apparently it's fascinating in some way. So it sort of exploded here in Sweden. Also, one of the first things I did was to contact some stores. I made a list of some cards that were sticking out in the collection that would be pretty rare to see. We had some Japanese foils from Ursa's Legacy and things like that. And so I wrote to 341 was the first store I actually wrote to. They are one of the biggest stores when it comes to buying Magic cards and selling Magic cards. And they are very good at advertising that they buy cards. So this was the first place that I wrote to. It's a store in Austria. And they got the list, and they said that, okay, we'll keep our eyes open and see if anything shows up. And then, a couple of months later, it did.
That's right. The cards had turned up 3,000 miles away at a game store in Austria.
My phone is ringing, and it's the owner of the store. There's actually 2 owners. But one of the owners called me and said that, I think we're very sure that we have your collection in the store right now. And, my heart just started racing, and it was very exciting. And, I was very don't let those guys walk out with the collection. And I just they said that they called the police, and the police were on their way. So it was happening as I was talking to him, which was it was a bit stressful, and I just thought that I need to do everything I can to make sure that when the police gets there, they understand that they shouldn't let these guys walk out with the collection because it's 100% mine. So I called the Swedish police and I told them, you need to contact the Austrian police right now. Like, this is going on. The collection is in the store. The guy is still there, the guy trying to sell it. And I just was trying to convince them to call the Austrian police and just let them know what was going on and explain that it was just like no simple, $100 collection of cards that they didn't understand. But it was actually quite a substantial amount. But in the end, finally I got the message from the owner of the store that, okay, so the police are there, the guy is still there, the collection is still there, so they're collecting the whole collection, the police is picking it up. And it was like, I just felt really happy at that point, and yes, this is actually gonna work out.
So hang on, we have to back up. These two knew that they had heat on them. How did they get caught?
So this guy, he came in one day and he sold a couple of foils. And 3 for 1 thought that, okay, that's a little bit suspicious because this guy maybe doesn't know a lot about Magic, but we don't have anything to go on there. And then he said, after they bought it and everything went well, he said that, okay, I'm coming in tomorrow with the rest of the collection. And then he came in with the 4 binders filled with foils, like 4,000 foils. And when he was in the store, they were counting, the cards, the value of the cards and things like that. He said that he was from another country than Sweden. At one point, he actually went out to take a smoke when they were counting the cards, and he dropped a bill on the floor. And the owner of the store went to the bill and saw that this is a Swedish bill. Like, why would he have a Swedish bill in his pocket if he's from that other country? So he sort of went like, this is suspicious. Like, added to the fact that probably he wasn't very knowledgeable about Magic. He was looking through the cards and he probably saw some of these cards that he recognized from the list that I sent him a month earlier or so. Okay, this is that collection. And he looked up the list, I guess, and just saw that everything I put in the list was basically there.
Well, at least we know that the suspects were caught and they're in jail for their crime.
I have serious doubt that he's in jail or anything like that. I think that they probably just released him and then they started this investigation and he might get a punishment for it later. I doubt it's going to be jail because the Swedish police told me that the guys who committed the crime, even if they caught them and even if they can prove that they did this in Sweden, that wouldn't be enough to put them in jail. They would probably get I think is it called probation maybe?
So if these two are out on the lam, I was like, are you worried that they're gonna come back? Do you feel like you're in danger?
I'm not very worried about that. I mean, they did this to themselves. I didn't do it to them. They stole my stuff and they got caught for it. So I don't think they have a personal grudge against me.
Even though all seems to be good, William still hasn't received his cards back from Austrian or Swedish authorities. The cards are still locked up somewhere with them as they sort out all the details.
We're jokingly saying that they're just playing foil cube in the Austrian police office every day now. The thing I like to think about that makes me a little bit happy is that I actually offered them, honestly, 50,000 Swedish crowns for them to just hand the collection over, and they went like, nah, I don't want that money. I need more money for this. I'm just gonna go to Austria and sell it for more. And then they got caught, so now they have all sorts of legal issues coming at them, and they still have nothing to show for it. So that makes me a little bit happy.
Everybody, thank you for watching. If you like videos like this on our channel, the best thing you can do is hit that like button and share it wherever you would share an MTG video that you liked. If you want to check out another story that we have on the channel, you got to go see the one of Jake chasing certain cards from a set and ending up with over 12 boxes of that set, one booster pack at a time.
In 2015, Wizards of the Coast put literal treasure cards into the set Battle for Zendikar. And for me, as a collector, this Arid Mesa right here changed the entire way that I would approach Magic the Gathering. highest level of gratitude to our patrons who power the channel through Patreon. Check out the Patreon link in the description to learn about monthly giveaways, VIP Discord access, and even our official playmat.